My fellow artists, the Zimbabwe Arts and Culture Industry Association has over the past few months been inundated with phone calls, inquiries, and concerns from our stakeholders. This has particularly been pertaining the issue of digital migration initiative that was initiated by government last year. Over the past few months, a lot of things have been going on. Our artists, particularly producers, were called to submit their projects that were targeted for funding. They went ahead submitting their project proposals, their budgets, to the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe, as had been advertised. All these works, all these efforts were targeted at the creation of local content, specifically for use as the sector expands in digital migration, accommodating new television stations to sustain ourselves as a sector. Concerns that are coming from our stakeholders, independent producers, film and television artists, are concerns to do with the framework that was put in place to support the sector. They are concerns to do with the administrators of the funds that were availed by the government. They are naturally concerns to do with the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe. Several questions are being asked. For example, what is the selection criteria that is being used to receive, evaluate, and assess submitted projects? Number two, what is the time frame between submission of a project and reception of funds by a producer? Number three, what is the standard yardstick used to generate or otherwise assign rates that are used to qualify or disqualify the submitted budgets that our producers will have given to the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe for their various projects? A lot of other questions come to the fore. We as the Zimbabwe Arts and Culture Industry Association stand representing our stakeholders, film and television producers, film and television actors and actresses, script writers, and all the personnel involved in the creation of content for this purpose. It is important for us to be clear with them as an organization that stands for them, that stands with them. A few aspects have been brought to the fore. But what has concerned us as an association is the vagueness of those aspects. There is the aspect that funds have already been disbursed over all the provinces. We have sought to understand if that indeed is the case. If every province has been given funds, we have not managed to understand that. We have made efforts to go to the respective offices, but we have been told, it's okay, go back, we'll call you. Time and time again, it's okay, go back and we'll call you. And what puts us in a very difficult position as an association, as an organization, is that we end up having no answers to the members, to the stakeholders, to the producers that we claim to represent. Therefore, we stand as an association to make the following things very clear. Number one, the pace at which the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe is receiving, processing, administering, and disbursing the funds is very slow. The pace at which the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe is receiving, processing the projects that are submitted, the budgets from our producers, and finally disbursing the funds to our producers, the pace is very slow. Our stakeholders are not happy about that. Number two, there is no clarity of what is going on. These are public funds, taxpayers' money. Our producers deserve to know how much is there that has been set aside by government for funding independent producers for their projects. By how much, I mean exactly the figure. How much money has been availed? Is it 225 million? Is it 260 million? Is the figure unknown? How much is it? And now, 6 or so months down the line, accountability is important. We expect to have quarterly reports detailing how much money has been used so far, who has used that money. In other words, of our producers that have applied, how many of their applications were approved? And the approved applications, how much are they worth? Number 3, the sector needs a schedule. All the submissions that were made to the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe must of necessity be accounted for. We're talking of both rejected and approved projects. In other words, we want to know what is the total number of projects that were rejected and how much do they cost. What is the total number of projects that were approved and how much do they cost? What is the total number of all the projects that were submitted for funding? And what is the total cost of all the projects rejected and approved? Those statistics are important because they work for our favor. They help to inform both the sector and the government in calculating the value of the sector, in calculating the level of input which either government or other such stakeholder might be able to put towards supporting the sector. So that is important. Such kind of transparency, such kind of accountability is what our stakeholders are calling for. So one would ask, what do you want as the Zimbabwe Arts and Culture Industry Association? What do you want as a sector? Pertaining content creation, the following is what our sector, and by extension, what the Zimbabwe Arts and Culture Industry Association are calling for. Number 1, we want our producers whose projects have been approved to be given the money that was approved to be given to them. Number 2, we want clarity in terms of the rates that are being used. We don't want unfounded rates thrown at our artists. Now we've learned from some of our concerns that we're hearing that a director, a producer, a boom operator, sound man are given all the same amount. I think it's $50 or something. How they arrived at $50 to give to a director, give to a direct DOP $50, boom operator $50, sound technician $50. Every member of the crew is given $50. What informs such rates which are unacceptable, which are unrealistic, we don't know. On what backdrop such basis rests, we don't know. And we don't like that. So we are saying as a sector, please change the way that you assess our projects, change the way that you assess our submission, change the way that you value our personnel. Let's make one thing very clear. Zimbabwe is inundated with serious talent, both from the crew and the cast, both from the film and television artists, the producers, the directors. The list is endless. What the sector needs is support. But when support comes, we are very concerned, we are very discouraged when such support is further trimmed down to the lowest amount possible. How much work do you expect a director that you pay $50 to produce? How competent is it? The cast is being paid $25, we hear. And mind you, these figures that we hear, we make efforts to clarify and verify with the administrators, the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe. But we are not being given attention. They say, oh, we hear you. Please go back, we'll call you. So this is one of the things that we want to have addressed. Pertaining the issue of accountability, we learned from every producer that is involved, most of whom have not even received anything. There are no dates. Producers need to plan. If you're running, for those that have run a production before, they know it goes through phases. Pre-production, production, post-production. And each of those phases should be a funded phase. And it's very involving. How can a producer start planning for a production without knowing when the money is going to come? How much is going to come? And where exactly they're going to be doing their work? Because they need locations. Locations need to be paid for. They need experienced cast, they need talented cast, they need to be contracted and signed up and paid for. So everything that a producer does costs money. So in terms of valuing our producers or valuing their work, the least which the authority can do is to consult them. And we've had even when they go to pitch, those that have gone to pitch, the panel is a mixture of people that know what they're talking about and some who have no clue what the film business entails. Now, how such a panel was constituted, how such a panel was put together, I mean, really, it boggles the mind. What are we saying? Let us be clear where we're going, where we're coming from. That's number one. Number two, let us be straightforward, let us be transparent. Obviously, we need to work with time frames. 6 months have gone down the line. Very little has been achieved. What we are calling for with the Zimbabwe Arts and Culture Industry Association is that if there is money put aside to give to our producers, give them and give them now. If there are projects that you have said you're going to fund and you no longer have the money, please be straightforward, be clear, come out in the open. It's okay. Tell our producers that you don't have the money, they can move on and avoid just waiting for nothing. That is very, very important. We understand that there are some so-called pilot projects. This habit that we had that for a series, for example, which has 13 episodes, the producer is being given money to do one episode. That one episode is being referred to as a pilot project. One episode for a series, a pilot project. It doesn't make sense. How can an episode be a pilot project? What would have understood that if they want to support a pilot project or consider a project as a pilot, they fund the whole project as a pilot. So there are a lot of concerns that are coming. We intend to have clarity with the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe. We don't want to waste your time. We don't want to waste the nation's time. We also don't want you to waste our time. If you've got the money, release the money to our producers so they start work. If you don't have the money, say so. If you've got some little amount of money, account for it, at least quarterly. Next month is June 2016. Surely we should have received some quarterly or so, or report of some kind, financial report, detailing we received 125 million from government in whatever month that we received. From the 125 million we received, we used 59 million. And from the balance that we have, we're going to use it as follows. And the 59 million was distributed across 6 provinces, or some such kind of accountability. Now, we are getting deafening silence pertaining accountability and transparency from the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe. We don't want that. We are not civil servants. We are stakeholders. We deserve 100% attention from whosoever has been tasked by government to administer the funds which government has intended to use to fund the arts and culture sector. When we come to inquire, we don't come to inquire from a perspective of an employee. We come as content creators, which we are. We come as stakeholders, which we are. We come as loyal and faithful Zimbabweans who have chosen to stay in our own beloved country for the past 3 decades and work for it and earn from it. When we come and we are treated as trash, when we make inquiries and we are brushed aside, when a civil servant looks at our producer, looks at our artists and condemns them, when an academic attempts to lecture to an artist with no clue whatsoever the concerns and the challenges that that artist is facing, that is outright arrogance, which is obviously unacceptable. So we stand on the knowledge of who we are. We stand on the basis of what we have given to the sector. We stand on the vision of what we are standing here to give to the sector. We stand on our talent, on our ability, our conviction, and certainty that together as artists, with the support that the government has given, we definitely can produce something that not just the sector, but the nation will be proud of. In closing, I want to say this. Let there be clarity with the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe. Our producers all know anything. Our producers are there to work. They are there to create. Support them. Our artists have waited for a long time for an injection of funds, for serious support, not just from government, but from every concerned stakeholder. Our artists deserve seriousness. And as the president of the Zimbabwe Arts and Culture Industry Association, I have been sent by the same artists, by the same producers, to make a statement. Don't waste our time. Take us seriously. Take our sector seriously. Take this country seriously. Whoever is appointed by government to administer funding from government should do that with transparency, with honesty, accountability, and integrity. Now, we've heard a lot of stories about corruption in other sectors. We are vigilant. If there is a man, a woman, a person, or a group of persons who seeks to exploit the funds allocated to our sector by government, get this. We are after you. We are coming after you. This is our sector. We are stakeholders. We are not civil servants. We are citizens of this country. We deserve every kind of respect which any other citizen of this country deserves. And we will stop at nothing to clamp down abuse of funds, corruption, misuse of funds, and outright arrogance. As an association, we stand for our artists, we stand by our artists, and we stand with them. So this message goes to whosoever is involved. I want to encourage our producers to keep on keeping on, keep working hard, keep working on our productions, and never lose hope. Thank you. God bless Zimbabwean Arts and Culture sector. God bless Zimbabwe Arts and Culture Industry Association. And God bless the nation and people of Zimbabwe. I thank you.